I'd love to know, just like on a departmental level, right? How do you integrate within the company itself?
I think this is critical. And so again, being a veterinarian, being the end user, the target for our customer base, I get pulled into a lot of things that sometimes don't have anything truly to do with customer support, but they have a lot to do with the potential for modifications to the customer experience. So I am heavily involved, and my direct reports are heavily involved in everything that happens at Antech. And I know that it sounds creative to say out loud, but it would be amazing if we could just focus on what we're doing for the actual customer support experience for our customers. But we're involved in rebuilding our CRM. So, when you bring this many businesses together, you're also carrying all of their tech debt and all the baggage that comes from the technology. So we're involved in the reshaping of all of the technology because my team is using most of it, right, to get their job fun. So we're involved in every single tech project that we have going on that has some adjacency to customers. We're involved, we call them cross-functional product teams. So we bring new equipment to market, but we also have to manage our older equipment. And so each device or any piece of x-ray equipment, for example, any new analyzer we're bringing to market or have on the market, we have a team dedicated to making sure that it's running appropriately. They're collecting data on how customers are using it, what they think of it, what kind of trouble they're running into. And you need customer support to sit on all of those teams as well, right? Because we're the ones funneling the data that they're getting out of the CRM or helping translate peculiarities of what we're hearing in our troubleshooting calls with customers. Can we engineer some of these things out? So my ask of all of these teams is, can you design this so no one ever has to? My goal is never have a call, ever, because that means something has gone wrong or something hasn't been answered well. We'll take ordering out of it because obviously I can't get my customers to order on e-commerce. They just love my team too much. But in a perfect world, that we wouldn't need that either because they would go right on to e-commerce and get their business done. My hope is someday we get to almost zero calls because then we know we've engineered everything out of our equipment that can go wrong. We're not having anything go wrong. But I know that's never going to happen, right? That's why we're so involved in the company. That's why we work so closely with IT, with operations, with the rest of the commercial marketing team. We work intimately with them because that everyone knows that's my goal. I would love a world where no one feels they have to call into us. They have everything they need it right when they need it, and they don't need a human to help them. But yes, I mean, that's my pie in the sky dream for support. But the only way to get there is to be an active part of the entire experience of the company. Because if one team makes a change, or let's say a marketing team designs something, is preparing to bring it to market, and I don't have enough people to support it, right? So, I mean, we have to be proactive and make sure that we are ahead of the game before something surprises us and it takes us a while to recover on the support side. Or we start having those really long hold times because now we didn't plan well enough in advance and we've got a lot more calls coming in for something, for example. It is a constant dance, but the only way to make it successful is to be really involved. And in my case, like to be viewed as a trusted leader, a trusted partner in the organization, because they'll come to me and say, hey, we're not going to launch this until we get your sign off. And I'm always like, oh, I don't want to be that one person that's making the final decision, but it is such an honor to be in that space to kind of give the thumbs up or thumbs down if we're bringing something to market.
I wish you could hear the gasps that were just happening from the audience here, right? Sign off from customer support, right? And here's what I heard. I heard you saying we have to be in those meetings. We have to be proactive. We have to be highly involved with all the other different departments. You're taking the position that to do the job right, that's what I've got to do. It's not, am I allowed to do it? I have to do that, right? That's a very different mentality than, we kind of don't get invited into the meetings and, we're just not seen as that integral to the decision making. And I am hearing the exact opposite from you. Exact opposite.
And maybe it's my personality, right? I'm very comfortable walking into a room and trying to figure out where I'm going to fit into the conversation. Or sometimes it's saying, hey, I actually don't have a role here, but what can I gain from what's being discussed so that I can prepare my team? so that I can find a potential pitfall again, so that we don't have to find ourselves in a bad situation and where we're either under resourced or underprepared. Like, no one wants to be in that situation. I hate putting my associates in that situation where I'm saying, oh, guess we missed something and they're launching it next week. And I hate to tell you this, but you're responsible for it. Sorry. Here's your recorded learning. Good luck. I don't want anyone doing that to me. So, I always tell my associates, I do everything I can to never put them in a situation where I wouldn't feel comfortable stepping into it myself. And so we also are really careful. We choose our words carefully. We choose our attitudes carefully in these meetings because we want to be viewed as a positive partner. And again, that goal of helping the business not find themselves in a pitfall. Part of it is easy for me because, again, experience, role, being a veterinarian, understanding what we're trying to do with our testing or our equipment. That all helps a lot. But also, again, I don't want people calling. I have to go and ask the C-suite for more headcount. I don't want to have to do that all the time, right? That's what the dance is. And so, again, if we can engineer something out of a new to market idea or protect ourselves in a way where we know, okay, this isn't going to lead to a lot of increased calls or an increased need for field visits, then we're winning. We're winning at business, customers having a good experience, and the teams around us don't have to constantly pivot and, try and put out fires that come up that we didn't anticipate. So we have a robust leadership model in support. I've got 4 directors. They each have a part of the business. So like we split our business into several, we call them rooms of the house. And each of them have a special room that they're keeping clean and they're giving all of the things they need to do. And they're showing up in those meetings because we finally gotten to the point where I can't be in all of them, which is great. And not everyone on my team is a veterinarian. So I do have one veterinarian on my team, but the rest are all experts with tenured experience in their related areas. And so they can serve as a subject matter expert, or they can be the person that just says, well, I actually don't know anything about that, but I can go find an answer and I'll get back to you on the next meeting. It's working really well. Like we have a very well-oiled machine considering we've all only worked together for about a year and in our current structure of support. And the teams around us are also either really green or newly structured to the business. And it's working really well for integrating so many businesses in such a short period of time. Because you see it in our CSAT, right? That's something I also celebrate. Not only can we give everyone pause with our 6% turnover, our CSAT consistently is above 93%, we'll say is the lowest team, but a lot of the teams that we measure are well above 95% consistently month over month. And this is doing anywhere between hundreds to thousands of interactions with our customer base in a month. And I'm so proud of them because that's hard. That's really hard to pull off in any industry. And I have to admit, I thought it would be a lot lower. I set my bar really low. I was like, 75% sounds great. 3.5 stars, I think anyone would feel okay with that. And then, you hit the button on, yes, we can launch this CSAT and see how it goes. And I'm like, 96, is this an anomaly? What about next month? Oh, now we're 98. This is getting ridiculous, So the percentage just kept going up. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're doing a great job. But I do encourage everyone to find ways to use CSAT creatively and not to burden customers with it. You don't want anything too wordy or too detailed because it can get a little bit more difficult to get actual feedback, but to provide a clear way for customers to reflect when they need to, because I'm actually trying to find the customers that are unhappy because it tells me more about the business and where we still need to improve. And it's hard for me because we don't have any to pull. But even that, we'll chase down if someone does feel we really dropped the ball and we didn't provide the experience they signed up for, we'll show up. We have it happen so infrequently that we can really go above and beyond to try and turn that negativity into something more positive, because our NPS has shown a clear relationship between that general satisfaction and the likelihood that they're going to renew these contracts, right? So that lifetime value comes into play there as well.